And salmon. This food is better for you than salmon. That's right. We're going to talk about why. It's exciting live right here. I'm excited to be here, actually. I'm in a really good mood today. I got my melons in front of me. Have you guys tried a cantaloupe? Have you tried one when they're perfect, when they're just right? It's this magical experience. I can't even describe it. I can't even put words to it. When a melon is beautiful and ready to eat and ripe and in a perfect moment, that's exciting all on its own. But when a cantaloupe is ready, wow, this is a whole nother thing. So I'm excited about this. This food is better for you than salmon. That is what we're talking about. A lot of information to cover. And we're going to talk about cantaloupes in its entirety. Well, we're going to try. I mean, there's a lot of information. We're going to get whatever we can get done. So I'm psyched about it. But you know, I got to say something, okay? This is a very special time. I want to talk about a couple quick things, couple quick announcements. Before we get going, let's do that a little bit, okay? So you guys, look out with your emails. Like, look out for the Medical Medium newsletter, please, okay? We've been trying to get that, boom, the registration, the wait list to you so you can get on the wait list. We're sending it out. I'm noticing from what I hear from the team that there's people that haven't seen it or they're not opening it and they've been given an invitation to the event, to the dinner. Okay, somebody, you know, the Cafe Gratitude book signing party we're doing there. We're going to be doing the light blast. It's going to be amazing. The food is going to be sick. It's going to be so great. The food's going to be mind-blowing. But I just want to say, make sure you're looking at your spam. Please check out your spam. Look into your spam folder, please, because there's a bunch of people not seeing it and they're about to miss out. That's what's happening. It's sad. It's actually really sad. They're about to miss out. So I'm just letting you know. And because the seats are limited at the 4th, November 4th and the 5th, just know that November 6th is the Barnes & Noble registration. Will be coming early next week. And that's the November 6th book signing. And with that, I'm doing something kind of even different too. It's the 3-story Glendale, Barnes & Noble in LA, but it's a 3-story one there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus with Spirit of Compassion and make sure we cover the entire building with light and we get light right through that building. It's going to be an experience. I can promise you that. So make sure you're actually, you know, looking out for that. Get on the Medical Medium newsletter so you can look out for that Barnes & Noble registration. And if you're somebody that can't get into the dinner because the seats are limited, for November 4th and 5th, November 6th, a day later, Barnes, okay? Make sure you're there. Make sure you listen out for that because I'm going to be there. It's going to be a meet and greet. I'm going to make sure I sign books. That's what I want to do, and I'm excited about that. So here we are. So you guys, this is what we're making right here, the Cantaloupe Smoothie. The Cantaloupe Smoothie, I'm excited. So have you had a good cantaloupe in your day? Oh, another quick announcement. Organic Krush, the new fall menu. Check it out right there. New fall menu, sweet potato zucchini stew, which is really exciting. Potato flatbread pizza at Organic Krush. Quinoa Brussels sprouts salad, which is incredible. And wild blueberry donuts. Donuts? Did I say donuts? Medical Medium donuts. Okay, and energy shifter shot. And of course, liver rescue juice. That's on the new menu, but the other menu is still there at Organic Krush, Long Island. They got a whole bunch of different locations. Check it out, okay? Get in there, get healthy, get the liver rescue smoothie, the HMDS, get the potato dishes they have there. It's really exciting, okay? And the liver rescue salad they have there right now too. All right, you guys, let's get moving into it a little bit. Cantaloupes, want to talk a little bit about it. The power they have, how important they are. So one of the things people do not know is that cantaloupe has traces of omega-3. Interesting. Take a look at it. And let's get a salmon out here, okay? I got a nice salmon on a plate right here. Maybe we can take a look with the camera too. we have the cantaloupe next to the salmon. Look at that. Check that out. That's pretty cool, isn't it? And let me see, let me grab even a darker one. Say I have a bunch of these here. Take a look there. How about that? Is that a little bit closer? It is. Whoa. Got the salmon right there. And got the salmon right there. And we got the cantaloupe. Check it out right there, you guys. Now, I am not anti-salmon. No, I'm not. What that means is that if you're somebody that likes salmon, you can still do salmon and still do medical medium. You can still do animal protein and still do medical medium. You can still do plant-based and still do medical medium. You can still do vegetarian and still do medical medium. You can still do something else and still do medical medium. You can. And that's the whole point. That's why medical medium information is so powerful and so awesome. You will notice the medical medium book series was never a book series. It was never like the vegan book. You know, some of the vegan, all the vegan authors, they all got like vegan on their books, right? They're all, they're having a difficult time too, which is really crazy. On another note, the vegan movement has literally catapulted down. It's heartbreaking. Like I talked about this. I forewarned the vegan movement. I forewarned them. I did an episode of the Medical Medium podcast. I talked about this. The plant-based movement is just crashing out there. And it's sad because it doesn't have to be. It just doesn't have to. It's really sad out there. And it makes no sense because you can be plant-based, but if you learn how to do it right, you can heal. You can heal terrifying illnesses and conditions and symptoms. You can. And so you can be vegan and still do medical medium and learn how to heal. I mean, you can. Cold White Spring just said everybody's doing keto now. They're back to keto now. They're all back to that. It's like paleo, then keto, then Atkins, then carnivore, then back to Mediterranean, back to keto, back to Atkins, back to carnivore, back to no carb, back to like there it is, right? It's all doing that. It's unbelievable. And the plant-based movement could not sustain itself because they did not want to adopt medical medium understandings, medical medium information. So there's a lot of plant-based people in the medical medium community, and it's a great home for them because you can heal plant-based. You can heal. You can do it. You can live plant-based. You can do it. And this isn't propaganda or anything like that because you can also do animal protein and you can heal on animal protein. You can be in the medical medium community and do the animal protein and you can heal. Yes, you can heal. Gotta know how to do it right. Gotta know how to cleanse that liver. Gotta know how to get those metals out. You gotta know how to get your life back. You gotta know how to kill off those viruses and the pathogens. You gotta know how to do all that. And you can do it. And you can be animal if you wanna be animal. And you can be plant-based if you wanna be plant-based. You can. You can. You can. So it's really sad out there. And I talked about this whole thing, the vegan plant-based movement. I did the 4 warnings, man. I did it. I was putting out those prophecies about it for a long time, for years, saying, okay, it had its moment somewhere around 2018, 2017, to somewhere around there. It had its moments, but I knew it was all going to come crashing down. I knew it. I talked about it constantly because they didn't want to know medical medium stuff about how to heal. So they're doing all the high-fat vegan and high-fat, plant-based and all the crap, the nutritional yeast and the nutritional yeast and the nutritional yeast. I'll say it 100 times. That's how much nutritional yeast was used in the vegan and plant-based movement. You're not going to make it if you're doing that. You're not. And guess what you're going to do? You're going to go back to what I've always said, back to eggs and back to dairy. And then you're going to think you need a homestead. And they got it all right. And you're going to be like trying to churn your own butter. It's like, no, man, that's not even right if you're sick. You got to learn how to do it if you're plant-based and you're vegan. I talked about this over and over again. But guess what? I guess my warning wasn't heeded. And it has literally collapsed. It has collapsed. And it's sad because, I don't wish any badness on any of the authors out there, or, any of the carnivore authors or any of the plant-based authors or anything like that. But the plant-based movement, it has drowned like a rat. And it is sad. It is sad. So maybe this inspires you to be plant-based. Maybe that's what it's going to do. Be like, that's just terrible. I'm going to get back on the horse. Or I always wanted to try, plant-based version of medical medium. And maybe it inspires you to, if you're carnivore, if you're keto, if you're paleo, whatever the heck you are, maybe that'll inspire you, Mediterranean, whatever you are, maybe that'll inspire you to bring in medical medium while you're doing that so you can heal. Maybe this is inspirational in some way, some shape or form, because that would be amazing. So where was I and how did I end up here? Well, back to this again. I was never anti-salmon. I was anti-tuna all these years. Yeah, you don't want to really do tuna, too high in mercury. Everybody's like, duh. Yeah, well, 40 years ago, 35 years ago, 32 years ago, 30 years ago, you say tuna's bad, you were crucified. You were crucified. They'll get out a cross and they'll nail you right to that cross back then in the health movement. The same thing with alcohol, though. I said alcohol's bad, and all the podcast doctors drinking, in all the parties, everybody drinking, and the vegan doctors drinking, no one wanted to nobody wanted to let go of their champagne, nobody wanted to let go of their wine, and I said, that's ridiculous. You shouldn't be doing that. You're a health guru, that's what you want it to be, that's what you are, you're a health guru, then why the hell are you drinking wine? Why the hell are you drinking champagne and whatever else you don't want to let go of? And now that's hit pretty hard. Info out there, it's hit pretty hard now. Okay, like it's pretty solid out there to not do the alcohol because it doesn't make sense. If you're somebody in the health movement, it doesn't make sense. But if you're a drinker and you use medical medium information, God bless you, fine. Definitely, because it's not about shaming and guilt and judgment. I'm talking about the people, that so-called think they're leading the movement. You know what I mean? They're doing it. And we're doing it all these years. But it's interesting information. But like I said, I was like, I shouldn't be doing tuna many, many years ago. I shouldn't be doing tuna. And people are like, what are you talking about? Tuna's got protein. Tuna's like amazing protein thing. Trainers would be like, what are you talking about, AW? Are you insane? Tuna's like, that's the protein source. Tuna, that's the protein source. What are you, nuts? And I'd be like, man, mercury. And then the fish oil craze that took over. The freaking fish oil craze? Every single person in health, not in health, every single conventional doctor, fish oil, functional doctor, fish oil. Yeah, I love, the functional medicine thing is a little tricky because, it's like they try to be like the most leading. They try to act like they're the most leading, right? But they got so much track record, guilt on their hands of krill oil, 2010, krill oil, stuff is terrible for you. Krill oil, fish oil, 2007, 2010, 2012. And, this is what it was all about. And, and then now they're like not talking about it. You'll notice not a lot of people are talking about the fish oils. You'll notice that now they're just not. They're not. And anyway, I'm just giving you guys, am I on a rant? We're supposed to be making a cantaloupe smoothie, but we're not only supposed to be doing that, we're supposed to be talking about like all the benefits, why it's better than salmon, why it's good for you, all of that. And I'm excited to do so, and I am at your service. I'm at your service. Anyway, I'm going to have a little sip of my lemon balm tea, if you guys don't mind. So good. Cantaloupe, that orange almost matches the flesh color of salmon. Very interesting. Salmon, high in omegas. Yes, omega-3s are good for you. They are. They are. Food science has it right. Omega-3s are good for you. Nothing wrong with them. They are. But keep in mind the omega-3 in fish, little hard to grab, little hard to get. It's not easy to get into the places it's supposed to go, like your spine, like your spinal cord, okay? Omega-3s end up in your spinal cord. They do. They do. Not easy to get omega-3 in your spinal cord when you're trying to derive it from fish, when you're trying to derive it from other sources like that. Not quite easy. But in cantaloupe, something magically happens. The omega-3 in its trace form can travel and it can get to your spinal cord. And I don't know, who cares? Who cares if it gets to a spinal cord or not? We should care. We should care. That's a lot to do with health. It does. It does. So when it comes down to, we've got a spinal cord right there. You can't not rant, LOL. All right, so here we are, okay? So omega-3s end up in the spine. They end up not just in the spine, but the spinal cord is where they end up. Keep that in mind. Omega-3s not just end up in the brain, traces end up there too. Keep that in mind as well. All right? And not just that. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right. They end up in every single organ in the body. Keep that in mind. So omega-3s, traces end up in every single organ in the body. It's not that we're made of all these omega-3s. That's not it. But traces, tiny traces, are supposed to go in all these special places. They are. They're supposed to go even into the skin, that old big organ. They're supposed to go into the liver. They're supposed to go into the spleen. But here's the problem with omega-3s. You need bile to help deliver. You need a good liver to help deliver traces of omega-3. Very important information here. I'm going to repeat this because it's leading to a spot that's critical to know about cantaloupe and salmon. If you eat a salmon, which I'm cool with if you want to eat a salmon, you eat a salmon, those omega-3s are going to have to go through an arduous process. An arduous process of your liver and bile. Your liver's going to have to do the whole thing. Really try to spill out. Spill out. That's what it's going to have to do. Your liver is going to be like, push, push. That's what your liver's going to do. When you eat omega-3s stemming from something that is high in fat or high in protein, the sticky globule protein. Keep this in mind, very important. So when you eat salmon, you think you're getting all that omega-3 and you think it's going all in the right places, but it ends up not, because almost all of it ends up in the shitter. That's where it ends up. Ends up in the toilet. Ends up out the door. That's where it goes. Because it's hard to extract that omega-3 and take it to where it needs to be delivered. Instead, here's what really happens. So when you're getting what you think is omega-3s from your fish, from your animal products, from some source of dairy, from your eggs, big one right there. I don't mean to pee everybody off, but every time I talk about eggs in some shape, fashion, or form, people end up pretty upset with me, and then, I get attacked in so many ways. But when you're trying to extract your omega-3s from eggs, it has to go through a process. And that process is bile reserves need to be coughed up out of the liver, purged and squeezed out of the liver. And when that bile reserve is released, its job is to try to disperse those fats, and the omega-3 gets injured in the process because it's not all omega-3. Omega-3 is just one aspect, tiny aspect of all the fats that are in certain foods. So if you think you're getting all these omega-3s from your sunflower seeds, which still have omega-3s, not just omega-6s. I know somebody's going to be out there going, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Sunflower seeds and oil, that's all omega-6. There's still a little bit of trace of omega-3. And then your hemp seeds got some omega-3. And then your sesame seeds got some omega-3. Yeah, they do. Your walnuts got some omega-3. But there's other fat. There's other fat in there. And that other fat takes bile reserves. And when that bile reserve gets released, that stuff is strong. And it's there to grab onto that fat. And guess what gets injured in the way? It's the omega-3s. Baby, it's the omega-3s. They get injured. They get injured. Spoils of war. They do. It's the carnage of war. So then you only get a little tiny bit of omega-3, and you only get it if you're lucky, a little tiny bit if you're lucky, but not with cantaloupe. Not with cantaloupe. It doesn't work that way. And you'll see there's a lot of eggs out there, and companies are like, it's a good source of omega-3, and then you got fish, it's a good source of omega-3, and walnuts, good source of omega-3, and all this, but it's hard to grab onto that. I'll tell you why. Because most everybody's livers are damaged, they're stagnant, they're sluggish, they've been through hell and back, they're injured, they're overworked and overburdened. Hear me now. Hear me now. Oh God, hear me now. People's livers are in a disastrous state in the United States and beyond and around the globe. Livers are tired, they're weakened. People are battling liver problems, skin conditions. Yes, because the livers are overburdened with all kinds of pathogens, and they're fatty livers too. And because of all this, you can eat your omega-3s in whatever sources you're told they're in, but you may not be receiving those omega-3s because your liver can't do the job it needs to do. And the bile that's coming out of your liver is difficult, it's scorcherous, it is rancid, quickly goes rancid. It is like a yellow pus, and that bile is just trying to break down fat and doesn't care in which way or hell or what or that. It doesn't care about the omega-3. It can't. It's fighting for its life inside of a person. And that bile reserve is being released like a weapon, and that liver's fighting for its life, saying, I'm going to save you, I'm going to save you, I'm fighting for my life because I'm inside of a human body. I need to protect that human body, and I need to save that human body. And that bile reserve is just looking to grab onto any fat it can so you don't go into pancreatitis right away, so you don't go into a heart attack right away because you get a big glop of fat right up to your heart, and boom, you die of a heart attack. Your liver and the dispersion of that bile reserve is so you don't get some problem in the brain, so that you don't get some emergency problem in an artery, so you don't get a balloon in your artery, and your artery gets weakened and the wall of it gets weakened and it balloons out because of all that fat. And that's what your liver's doing. It's actually living to try to keep you alive. It's struggling. It's fighting for your life. It's fighting to keep you going. And it can't be worried about any old omega-3 when it's trying to keep your blood as thin as possible so you don't die on the spot from a big glop of fat that built up into your arteries that goes to the heart, and your heart finally says, I can't do this anymore, and a valve blows. Or a ventricle just explodes. So people are fighting for their omega-3s, and they're like, oh, honey, some salmon would be nice. Waiter, can I get some salmon? Is that wild caught? Thank you. The bill? I don't care. We're very wealthy, upper class suburbs. We'd like some salmon, please, some wild caught salmon. Yes? Oh, I have a big diamond ring on my hand. Do you like it? Yes. Oh, husband, honey, what would you like? A drink? Get some wine for my husband. And then your liver doesn't care about that omega-3 from that salmon because it's not really reachable. Maybe sardines, sardine omega-3, that's more reachable. That's more reachable. Sardines. That's more obtainable. Salmon, not really. But what's way more obtainable than all of that is cantaloupe if you're looking for omega-3s. Let's get into it a little bit more before I go down some other direction, okay, you guys? Talking about omega-3s, talking about it getting into the spinal cord. Yes, the spinal cord. Now, as a meat eater out there, a meat eater would decide that their meat looks good in the way they receive it and the way they buy it and purchase it. But as meat eaters tend to look at their cut of meat, they don't understand the spinal cord of the animal they get a cut of meat from. So meat eaters tend to not really get themselves involved in any of this. If you're somebody, as a meat eater on a homespun farm who chops up their own animals, you know, this isn't propaganda, I'm just talking about like reality. You know, they raise their own animals, they either, you know, slaughter them themselves or in the most humane way they can, or they butcher the animal. They send the butcher comes to the farm. That happens a lot, depending on what state it's in. Or they're just shipped away and they're, you know, butchered at a factory, even though they were raised grass-fed and raised, you know, accordingly to the most respectful way possible. Regardless, the spinal cord is only kind of viewed on that level right there. So only people who are close enough to that butcher process, to the animal getting to that state, understands the spinal cord. And when the spinal cord breaks, it's not just spinal fluid that comes out of the spinal cord, there is fat in the spinal cord. And in that fat, and if someone had this experience, like if someone ever lived this before, where they're close enough to the butchering of a goat, the butchering of a lamb, the butchering of some kind of animal, butchering of a cow, and if they ever got close enough to understand the spinal cord, they would understand how much fat is actually in the spinal cord. The spinal cord contains a lot of fat in it. I don't hear a lot of people talk about it out there, but it does. But it contains some of those omega-3s. It sits in the spinal cord. That's where it sits. So as a meat eater moves forward in their life and they're getting their cuts of meat from good farms and good places because they're not just buying it from the store, they're disconnected from the spinal cord aspect of it, and they're not thinking it. They may think ribs because they like ribs and they like to eat ribs. They may like that, you know, but they don't really think about the spinal cord. It's not on their mind on any level in any way. So as meat eaters venture into the process of eating better cuts of meat and better animals raised in a better fashion and grass-fed and so forth, they still are disconnected to the whole spinal cord aspect, where there's a lot of fat in the spinal cord, not just fluid. In that fat contains a high amount of omega-3, our spinal cords have omega-3 in it, but it's hard for our bodies to obtain that omega-3 if our livers are tired and worn out. Let's get into some cantaloupe. Let's talk about it. Medical medium information is for anyone. Animal protein, plant-based. What I always wanted was what Spirit of Compassion would always say to me, which is, you know, how do we save the plant-based movement and the vegan movement, if you want to do the vegan thing, how do we save that movement? And so Spirit of Compassion has always known that the medical medium information was here for the plant-based crowd. The plant-based crowd, though, is one that is very much into, not the medical medium plant-based crowd, but the plant-based crowd is very much, they don't like certain spiritual aspects of things and stuff like that. It's very strange. And so they tend to just focus, because they're so injured over the science factor of food and stuff. And the reason why they're injured with the science factor about food is because they've had the crap beat out of them for being plant-based all those decades. So the plant-based doctors and the plant-based, you know, influencers and the plant-based people, they've had to constantly say, there's protein in plant food, there's protein in plant food, you're wrong, there's amino acids in plant food, you're wrong. And they've had to constantly, like, you know, they've had a kick me sign on their back because they're plant-based, because in the end, the animal movement is so big, because just basically the entire world eats animals of some kind. So the plant-based movement really, they can't really hit the spiritual aspect unless it's somewhere on like a retreat somewhere in a field and they're doing ayahuasca or something like that. But whatever it is, I'm not saying, I'm just saying one example out of 100. But the plant-based movement is very like science-minded, because they need to battle those carnivore heads. They need to battle those meat heads. They need to battle them. And in that process, a lot of the vegan movement and the plant-based movement, they tend to push so much spiritual understandings away. Not you guys in the medical medium, you know, movement, and that's different. But a lot of the plant-based movement out there, they push a lot of spiritual away and supernatural away. They don't really want to partake in any of that, because they're so busy trying to convince somebody that there's an omega-3 in a nut, and, you know, here's the plant-based diet you need to be on, and don't eat meat, it's bad for you. So they're so into that war, that food war, that they get lost spiritually, and they kind of lose contact or in touch with their spiritual and intuition. They lose that piece of them because they're trying so hard to just be like science, 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 science. Food science says this, and this, you know, validates why I'm plant-based. But the sad part is, almost everybody has left plant-based. It's literally so sad. And it doesn't make sense, because they shouldn't have. People who are plant-based should have stayed plant-based. But they should have learned how to eat plant-based through medical medium information. But it takes a spiritual jump. It takes a spiritual jump to be like, you know what, I'm going to do medical medium information. Sure, doesn't matter. I mean, it's hard for people to make that jump, even if you see all these people heal. You see people get out of wheelchairs, it's still a hard jump to make for plant-based minded people, because it's too spiritual, because medical medium hears a voice, medical medium gets the information from above, this information is, you know, advanced, it's even paving the way in health, but still it's a jump. And so what do? They end up drowning in their old plant-based vegan ways, and they end up on eggs and dairy and, you know, animal protein later anyway. And then they leave everybody, they just abandon everybody behind in the plant-based movement, which is so sad. If you want to be plant-based, you should be allowed to be plant-based, and you should be able to do it right and learn how to heal and heal your diseases, conditions, symptoms, ailments, and heal your illness and heal. That's what you should be allowed to do. You should be. And you should be allowed to do that on animal too, if you're doing it the right way and you're not eating tuna. And you're not eating tuna. Anyway, let's talk about some other stuff. Holy moly. So I just want to ask you guys, have you, just a quick little talk in between our talks. Did you listen to Life on Mars? Did you listen to the Medical Being podcast? Check it out, Spotify, if you can. Apple Podcasts, you can go to Apple Podcasts, listen to it. Have you listened to it? Jess Elaine says, Anthony, your last podcast on Mars was incredible. It takes an open mind. It takes an open mind to listen to that one. You know what I didn't do? I didn't give you a forewarning. That I feel actually bad about that. I'm disappointed with myself. I am. Personally, I'm actually disappointed with myself. Yeah, can you believe it? I'm actually disappointed because I never gave anybody a true forewarning about what they were going to hear, about what was going to happen in there, about like what your mind could get blown. All of that, I did not give you any kind of like really, I've done, you know how like with angels, demons, and spiritual tools, you guys know what happened, right? I was like, you guys, I don't even know if you should listen to this. Like, I don't even know. I got it from SOC. It's all good. I don't even know if you should listen to, remember all that? Okay. Iona says, we love the Mars podcasts. Keep on doing them. Aspen says, so incredible. MeTube787 says, yes, love the podcast. Okay. Pink says, it's a blessing. Wow. Barbara says, I listened to most of it. It was amazing. More on Mars, please. Wondering, wishing. Whoa. Melanie, it's the most incredible thing I've ever heard. Wow. Athea, amazing. Over there on IG. Okay. Is anybody's feelings hurt at all with that podcast? Yes, my head was like, Sunrid. Paulson says, my head was like, right? Me, Michelle, 144. Please talk about the mark of the beast. Are you reading my mind? Are you reading my mind? Because remember, it's a Life on Mars series. Series means another could be coming. Sunlit Garden Mars podcast had so much info, requires listening multiple times. And it does. And you know what? Why I'm also disappointed in myself is I didn't say that in the beginning of the Mars podcast. I didn't say at the very intro, you're going to have to try to listen to this more than once. And so when I re-listened to it after it was released, I wanted to kind of like smack myself in the head and say, why didn't you say that this is going to take some listening? I'm trying my best. Tamara says, love the podcast. And IG, Suzanne says, definitely keep it coming. The Mars podcast was fucking awesome, Constant said. Constant said 144. I try to whisper that swear. I was reading it. I do swear, but I was reading. Lindy Holmes says, Revelation, my mind is still reeling. And did you hear about the locust? Did you listen to the locust part? Okay, so that's in the King James Version, right? Somebody was really mad at me. Somebody was mad at me and saying, oh, now you're religious now? Now you're religious? Someone was so mad at me. It's like, I didn't say, it's not about me being religious or not. What are you talking about? I didn't say I'm all religious and all that. I didn't say that or not say that. I wasn't making any religious stand or anything. That's not what it was. I was just deciphering through Spirit of Compassion, the book of Revelation in King James Bible. That's what I was doing. And so a couple of people, I think somebody was mad at me. And they're like, is this what you're going to do now? You know, I'm like, what? God, can I do anything? Like what? I mean, the crap that's going on out there in the world and the shit people do and the influencers and what they do. I can't even read. I can't read King James Bible for 5 seconds. Sunrid Paulson says, love your podcast. Thank you for speaking the truth. Tabitha says, yes, it was great. I loved hearing a different version of what I grew up with. Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored. Loved your revelations about life and all about it. Keep it going, Chrissy says. Chrissy Busman. Life stories and the James. Your Mars podcast is so mind-blowing. This information is so fascinating and full of mind-bending information. Did you hear the part about the sea monster that comes out of the ocean? Hear what Spirit of Compassion said about the sea monster that came out of the ocean? Okay. It wasn't a sea monster. It was a war machine. I mean, is that unbelievable? Unfreaking believable. I mean, when I heard that information, and you know what I didn't do is I didn't say, okay, let me, I just was like, let me just put this out now. It's free. It's for free. No one would do that. No one would put this out for free anywhere. No one would do that. They'd package it up and try to get downloads and people paying for it and everything else. They would like subscription fee this thing to death is what they would do. And I don't get any respect for any of this. Like, I don't get respect for not doing all that everybody does out there. It's not like a lot of people say, this guy could have subscription feed me to death on this. This stuff is so good. He could have just fed this stuff to me forever. I would have paid for it forever. But I don't do that. I just put it out there for free like that. Mike over there, Mars was just as mind-blowing as the first time I heard the Aliens podcast. Wow, that's impressive. That's impressive. You see where I talked about it said in the King James Bible, right? This serpent comes out of the ocean, okay? And John the prophet, right? That's what he saw. What's interesting about that is, and then I was like, oh, obviously it must be the devil that came out of the ocean. Had to be the devil. I mean, that's what every single, pastor across the world will talk about in Christianity, and that's what they'll say. That was the devil coming out of the ocean. That was the devil. That was the serpent. That was that was Satan coming. No, it's not. It's not. Sorry. Don't hit me with a baseball bat now, but sorry, it's not. It was a war machine, a freaking war machine that came out of the ocean. And what's interesting is, I mean, I know we got a smoothie to make. I got to stop. Marie said, yes. Oh, my God, it was insane. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Medical Meme Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, give it a shot. Listen to Life on Mars, Book of Revelation. And, with all my spare time I have, because I do nothing, with all my free time I have on my hands, because I don't do anything, I may as well record another. I'm busting my ass. Yeah, it was insane, right? It was unbelievable. You guys, look, it's like I said too in the episode, if you're on Mattress Island, you're on Couch Island, I want to help pass the time while you're healing and you're doing all the hard work you're doing. So that's why I actually do this and dedicate all that time and energy to try to put that together with SOC so you can hear this information. Because I always say to myself, if I was on Mattress Island, if I always say to myself, if I was on Mattress Island, Couch Island, and I was sick and had chronic illness, and I had it really hard and tough, I would love to know this information. And so I always kind of go into that direction of, if I was sick, if I was ill, if I was on Mattress Island, if I was suffering, I always go there. I try to put myself into someone's shoes that is going through hell and back. I try to put myself into somebody else's shoes that's going through a lot. Like, that's how I live my life. If someone says, well, how do you live your life? If someone says that to me, that would be the answer right there. I spend every waking minute and moment to try to put myself in somebody's shoes that doesn't feel good. And that would be like an answer. That would be the answer that I would say, and I'm saying it now, but that would be it. Anyway, check out that podcast when you get a chance. Let's make a smoothie. We got stuff to talk about Cantaloupe. Francis 144, love the number. Life on Mars podcast was amazing. Thank you for the podcast. Thank you. The podcast was incredible. Can't wait to hear the next ones. I've been waiting for these. Wow. So cool. So cool. All right, so we're talking about cantaloupe. Where did I go? I went from the plant-based movement to the vegan movement to carnivore people to all that stuff. I uttered, whatever, and this and that. And I'm all over the place today. What has happened? All right, let's do it. Let's make the smoothie and we're going to talk more. We're going to sit down at the round table and we're going to talk more about the powers of cantaloupe, what it does. But let me just at least say this part because I didn't finish this part. The omega-3 in cantaloupe is accessible like that, like that, like that, accessible. It doesn't have to go through an arduous process of your liver spilling out its guts. And closer to the rind is the spot you want to be. You get closer to that rind. Closer to that nice slice. That was a slice of cantaloupe. That wasn't a slice of salmon. Wasn't a slice of salmon. All right, I gotta stop fooling around. All right, the omega-3 in the omega-3 in the cantaloupe goes right to the spinal cord. Boom. There's your answer we got here. And then the omega-3 gets right to the brain. Boom. Just like that. And it's attached to all these nutrients. And I talk about that in, I haven't even showed it. I talk about that in Life-Changing Foods, new edition. Please, if you have not pre-ordered it, pre-order it, please. Okay? Please have mercy on my soul. Why would I care and want you to pre-order it? Because there's a good chance it won't be in stock after it's released, and then I'm gonna hear the same thing I've heard for 10 years. Hey W, what are you doing to me? I can't get one. What the heck's going on? I need it for healing. I don't want to hear that. I'm sure I'm going to, but whatever. I'm trying my best. Okay, pre-order it. Definitely. You won't be disappointed right here. 30 new foods, unbelievable, all new recipes, more information. It's a book on top of a book. It is the book. It is unbelievable. You've got to get this in your hands. It's a reference book. I don't have them like that, where they're all about symptoms, conditions, diseases, and all the information, and that has a lot of this, but instead, this is about like a reference book that is a whole nother game. You have this every day in your kitchen. You open it up. It spiritually helps guide you to what you need in your body. It spiritually helps get you to that direction. You open it up in the middle of the day when you want lunch, breakfast, dinner. Take it for reading when you're in bed. You will love this book. You will not be disappointed. You will be mind blown. And by the way, it's over 600 pages, but it is not a little 600-page book. It is a big 600-page book. It is a Bible. This thing is really intense. I can't wait for you to get it. The recipes are insane. We're in one now. We're doing cantaloupe. All right. I'm going to get a spoon. Do you guys mind? Let me get a spoon. All right. Let's take a look here. We got some cantaloupes. I'm going to open another one right now. That's what I'm going to do. Let me open up this one here. So many cantaloupe tips. I'm going to give you some all on its own. If it's okay, you guys, I'm just going to do a scooping right here. I don't eat the seeds of melons. I don't. That's a tip all on its own. Just try not to blend all the seeds and the seed pulp. A lot of people try to do daring things. They get very excited, very inspired. And so what they'll do is they get very excited and very inspired. So what they'll do is they'll say, I'm just going to do this whole melon. I'm going to do the seeds included, all of it. And next thing you know it, all the seeds of the melon are going in the blender. Don't do that. Don't do that, okay? So scoop out these seeds. I'm going to just toss them right here. I'm going to put a little can right here. You guys don't mind? And I'm going to scoop these out real quick. I'll show you a little scoop right here in the camera. There you are. How's that look? And I'm scooping these out, okay? You really want to scoop these out. You don't want these in your melon, in your meal or anything like that. It's not that I'm anti-melon seeds, but I kind of am. I kind of am. They're really not tasty. They don't have a great flavor. They're not easy to try to scoop while leaning over a garbage can. All right, there you go. This one's a little on the crunchier side, but whatever. I got 1/2 right there. Let's see, I'm gonna take one that I already cut open over here to the left, and I'm gonna scoop these seeds out here. Oh, this one's softer. Yeah, a little softer. Cantaloupes are weird. Getting a good cantaloupe is not the easiest. Okay, getting, all right, there we go. Okay, there we go. All right. We got a cantaloupe. I'm just going to use these two halves right here. Okay, let me move this over. And so you can cut these up. Actually, that's what I'm going to do. Check this out. Okay, watch this, you guys. All right, here we go. So here's what I like to do too. Now, when you're doing this, just watch your palm underneath the melon. It's probably not a good idea that you do that, but I'm doing that here. So I'm going to do it again right here, so I'll show you. Now I'm going the other way right here. Technically, you just keep this on the counter. I'm holding it up so you see it. But really, do it that way if you're ever going to do it. Okay? This is the easiest recipe. I can't say it enough. So easy, but so good. Have you ever tried a really good cantaloupe? Can I ask you guys? Have you? All right. Now this one here, there you go. When you purchase a cantaloupe, wash it. I'm going to talk about that process. Wash it. You don't know what's on the cantaloupe. In transit, a lot of fruit is mixed with animal products. In transit, chicken juices are dripping out of chickens, and then you've got like melons underneath. You've got greens underneath. Wash your produce. Just saying that. We're going to do some produce washing stuff. Put that over here. We're going to do some produce washing stuff, but I'm just saying, don't let your cantaloupe get too spongy or soft, okay? Don't let it get too spongy or soft, just letting you know. You don't want it so spongy and soft where it's obviously fermented. Fruit will ferment if it's overripe. Guess what else ferments when it's overripe? Meat. Don't be like, oh, that's why I like carnivore and it's the only thing I eat is meat, because fruit ferments. Exactly. No, meat ferments. Oh, my God. Don't let your cantaloupe get too spongy or soft. Like I said, it might go bad before you get to enjoy it. It's one thing right there, but you also don't want it rock hard where you can't even eat it or enjoy it that way either. It's certain like ripening place you want to get. When you become an expert at cantaloupes, you'll learn and know about it. But that's the thing, you need life-changing foods because it has the tips in there, it has the understandings, and you can become an expert, but with that information for sure, okay? And I'm probably gonna get another one. I'm gonna look for another one too. I'm making a pretty good sized one. There we go. We're gonna have some fun here. If you go on cruises, do you like cruises? I don't. I don't like cruises. I don't like cruises. Do you like cruises? They spray like formaldehyde and other chemicals on their food, and the food gets then put into the cruise ship. You know, it's been treated, so they try to use all these different chemicals so that nothing goes bad and so forth. That I don't like that. If you're on a cruise ship, ask for food you have control over. Don't say, can I have avocado? Because they'll bring you an opened avocado that was laced with the different chemicals. Okay? That's what kind they'll bring you. So what you do is you say, can I have an avocado? Like a whole avocado, and bring me a knife, please. I am going to cut. Sir, our chef will cut the avocado. No problem for you, sir. No, I would rather have the avocado myself so I can cut it here at the table. Sir, we have chefs that do that. No, I would rather do it. And the reason why is because the avocados are already cut and then they're laced. You want to be able to, like, you know, on a cruise ship. Same thing with apples, you know. Make sure you peel your apple on a cruise ship. Why are we on cruise ships? Because guess what? Melon is something you can get on a cruise ship, but you got to be careful because, you know, the melons will come. They'll come already cut open and laced. All right. All right. Let's get some vanilla bean, pure vanilla bean in here. You guys don't mind? Okay. Sorry. Put a little bit there. There you go. Vanilla. So good. I'm going to put a little honey in here. You guys okay with that? A little bit of honey. Let's do that. Can't help it. All right. I'm going to put some ice in here. Hang on. I'm back. We're also going to put some cinnamon in there too. Sorry about the noise. Do you guys know we're live? This isn't pre-recorded. We're actually live. It says like a half a cup of ice, something around there. How did that ice melt? And then refreeze itself. I got to get my freezer checked out. What is up there? Okay, cinnamon. Half teaspoon of cinnamon. Nice. All right. I'm going to try to blend this. Let's do it, you guys. And then we're going to hang out in the round table and we're going to talk some other stuff. We're going to talk shop. We're going to talk shop. We did it. Cantaloupe Smoothie in the Cantaloupe section of Life-Changing Foods. New edition. Please get a pre-order. That means it's coming out in a couple weeks, but it'll lock down and guarantee you got the book. Make sure you do it, okay? Go to Amazon.com. Make sure you do it. Go to Barnes, Noble. All right? All right, we have ourselves a Cantaloupe Smoothie. So I got a couple of options. I could put some in here, which I kind of like this idea right there. Put some in there. All right, that's one. I'm going to also put some here. Take a look. And that's another. I am so excited about this. I just am. Okay, so I'm going to bring a couple of things over to the table. I got to bring the book over. I also have to bring, let's go sit at the round table, okay, you guys? Come on, let's check it out. I'm going to put these down here if you guys don't mind, okay? And I'm going to go back. I'm going to look for my salmon. I'm going to look for the book. That's what I'm going to do. Anything else I need over here? You ever do that where you're double checking, where you got to go into like the living room or something else, and you're like, what else do I have to get? What else am I missing? Oh, my drink. Oh, I have a lemon balm tea. So I was missing that. Bringing some salmon here because we're talking about it. I am not anti-salmon. No, I'm not. Lemon balm tea. Ran over. All right. Because you never know. There are omega-3s that end up in the brain. There are. That's right. That is true. But in order for your brain to truly survive, you need glucose or your brain won't make it a day, never mind a minute. So that's important to know too. So I got some recipe notes here I want to cut into, and we'll talk about that. Maybe we'll talk about the brain for a couple of minutes as well. Are you okay if I taste this? So good. So good. Let's talk about how to pick a good cantaloupe. Let's go through the tips. Let's start with one thing. If you do pick a cantaloupe, you guys, there's so much information in the expanded edition. It's like, your mind was blown about Mars? Wait till you get this book. All right. Here's a cantaloupe in front of me right here. You got to wash it good. You got to wash it with soap. You have to. Soap and water. I turn the tap on hot. That's what I do. I turn the tap on hot. Okay, keep that in mind. Yep. And I wash it really good with soap. I use an unscented, fragrance-free, natural soap. Okay, you might have one. Wash it good like this. Just give it a good, because everything gets in its nooks and crannies, right? Rinse it off with hot or warm water. Not scalding water, not like boiling water. Don't do that. But, warm or hot water that you can handle. Like it's not going to hurt your hands, And then rinse it off really good. Dry that off. Okay. Now, you're going to buy them. Most likely, you're going to buy them. They're going to be unripe. That's just the way it works. So you have to ripen them. So you have them on your counter, your kitchen counter, your dining room table, your porch. Maybe you have them on a stand. Maybe your kitchen's really, really small and you just have them in a basket. Whatever you do, you want them to ripen over time. But there's a trick. The outsides tend to start like getting little rotten spots, and hopefully you don't end up with that because they might like rot before they ripen. That happens a lot with cantaloupes. It's the one big annoyance I have with cantaloupes is they could rot before you get to enjoy them, and you can, really experience it. And so, but you want to see if it gives. Does it give a little bit? Okay, does it give? Keep that in mind. If it gives a little, it's getting closer to being ripe. When they give a little, so you give it a good squeeze. This one it needs time. I would say this one needs a week from now. I had one that was really ripe, by the way, over there. And then I had two. The other two weren't really ripe, but I didn't want to waste them, so I was scooping them out. I was overzealous. I should have just, I was quick to cut them open without doing the test. Like before so, I had them all, washed and ready, and I was just cutting them open. I was just like, whatever. But there you go. So these are some of the tips. So let's get into it a little bit. Okay. So cantaloupes, the omega-3 bypasses the liver need to produce bile. I talked all about that to break down the omega-3. That means your omega-3 doesn't have to be broken down. The omega-3 that's in the cantaloupe does not have to be broken down. I can't tell you how important this is because it goes to the brain like that. And it goes to your liver like that. And it goes to your spleen like that. If you have a spleen, and it goes to your heart like that. It goes everywhere it needs to be. And your spinal cord like I was talking about before. It's something that's a big deal. The melon's orange flesh also harbors antioxidants, bioflavonoids, nice, beta-carotenes. Beta-carotenes. Not beta-carotene, beta-carotenes. The S is at the end, okay? Beta-carotenes, because that's how many different carotenes are in a boom right here in a cantaloupe. It's not just one carotene. So very important. It also has easily assimilatable soft minerals. Soft minerals. Magnesium is a soft mineral. Calcium, soft mineral. So there's that too. Cantaloupes act as a natural laxative because they are a pusher. Not a drug pusher. They're a pusher. They're a bathroom pusher. So keep that in mind. Doesn't mean you're going to have the runs or anything like that, but they are a pusher. Cantaloupes are similar to papaya. They are similar in the way that when they start doing the peristaltic action thing and they start going through the gut, they are a pusher. And it can get things moving. Cantaloupe are a great way to get things moving. Let's talk about conditions. If you have any of the following conditions, bring cantaloupes into your life. Alcohol withdrawal. Alcohol withdrawal. All autoimmune diseases, disorders, Alzheimer's disease, amnesia, ALS. The list is unbelievable. Let's see, let's go into some more of these. Breast implant illness, believe it or not. Breast implant illness. Caffeine withdrawal, that's a big one right there. Castleman disease, celiac disease, chocolate and cacao withdrawal. Okay, this is insane. Check this out in this book. Like, you gotta check this out, right? I'm in my manuscript. This is my manuscript, right? And check this out. It's really good for blood draw. Like you get the blood draw 1 week before the blood draw, start doing cantaloupe. 1 week after, do cantaloupe. Try to restore that blood as fast as possible. But here's what's really cool. I'm seeing a lot of withdrawals in here. Boy, that spirit of compassion is something else. Because this is so mind-blowing. So I'm noticing alcohol withdrawal. Okay? Get ready for this. And then I'm noticing caffeine withdrawal. Get ready for this. Then I'm noticing coffee withdrawal. Not just caffeine withdrawal, coffee withdrawal specifically. How crazy is that? I'm noticing all these withdrawals. That is interesting. Get ready for this. Chocolate and cacao withdrawal. Cacao, yeah. People go on like they're in withdrawal for chocolate, and then they break. They can't help it, and then they break. They need that chocolate so bad. It's insane, like the cacao. And then they buy the whole cacao thing where they're like, oh yeah, no, I don't want the shitty, junky chocolate. I want the good chocolate. I want what all the biohackers sold everybody for the last 20, 30 years, well, 20 years or 15 years. I want what the biohackers tell you about is the pure cacao. I want the cacao. So then you get sold into the whole cacao scene and you're now into that. But meanwhile, you're in chocolate. You're still in chocolate. You know, you're still in chocolate no matter what. It's like cocaine, right? It's like, you know, people who do cocaine and stuff like that. It's like, you know, people who have big money that are allowed to buy and seek out the best cocaine. They start out with crappy cocaine and then they're just like, oh no, wait a minute. You know, I know cocaine's bad for me. I know it's terrible, but let me go get the best cocaine I possibly can. The best stuff there is out there. That's what cocaine heads do, addicts do, right? Now, if they got money and they can go get the best cocaine they can get, that's what they end up doing. They try to kind of right the wrong with saying, well, no, it's the best stuff. They try to right the wrong. People do that with chocolate. They do that at the same way. They're eating like junk crap. I won't name the brands of crappy, you know, crappy. I'm trying to say it without saying it. Just crappy chocolate brands. I can't do it. Anyway, the point is, I'm a terrible, like, I can't do that good where I cough and then say it, but it'll come out so strong. Anyway, they try to right the wrong because now they're on the pure cacao. cacao, 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 cacao. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's just, it's, it's like that. Epia over there on YouTube says, I just got on. What's up with the cacao? You got to watch this whole episode from the beginning because we covered a lot of things I wasn't even planning to talk about on any level. All right. Epilepsy, Epstein-Barr virus, mononucleosis, fibromyalgia. Fibro is the result of an Epstein-Barr virus. Remember that? Flu, gastroparesis, Guillain-Barré syndrome. Guillain-Barré syndrome. Hepatitis, HIV, Huntington's disease, hyperhidrosis, jaundice, which is liver, chronic fatigue syndrome, ME/CFS, migraines, multiple sclerosis, myocarditis, narcolepsy, obsessive compulsive disorder, optic neuritis, post-traumatic stress disorder, Tourette's syndrome. Tourette's is a tough one, so it would be great to help that. Symptoms, age spots, back pain, Bell's palsy, brain aging, brain fog, brain lesions, crooked jaw feeling. The crooked jaw feeling? A lot of people suffer with that. Eye floaters, eye focus issues, eye pain, fainting, fever blisters, forgetfulness, frozen shoulders, headaches, jaw pain, myelin nerve sheath damage, nausea, neck pain, numbness, panic attacks, popping in the ears, pulsating sensations in the head, ringing in the ears, spasms, sun sensitivities, and tingles. Tingles. Emotional support. Winters are not hard for everyone. Yet for many people, winters start to take its toll around February. Have you experienced that? Have you? Zen Veteran 777. Good number, 777. Very good number. Pre-ordered medical medium. I would drink coffee all morning into the early afternoon. Then chocolate in the afternoon and early evening. Now I have all natural energy from healing food. So grateful. Thanks, AW and SOC. Thank you for putting that comment in there and your experience and showing everybody your experience. I see everybody's throwing all kinds of stuff out there. Susan, what are you drinking? Nothing. I'm not drinking anything at all. I'm not drinking. I'm drinking Cantaloupe Smoothie from Expanded Edition. Thank you for asking. Thank you. I'm honored. I am not drinking anything. Dr. Nesbitt likes to drink a lot. I can promise you this. Dr. Nesbitt loves to drink a lot. I was talking to Dr. Nesbitt about pre-ordering the expanded version, right? Dr. Nesbitt said that he's willing to pre-order it. All right, let's get into the emotional support. Winters are not hard for everyone, yet for many people, winter starts to take its toll around February. Remember I was mentioning that? Finding a cantaloupe grown in a warmer climate at the market, bringing it home and cutting it open can almost shock someone out of February blues. So check this out, okay? In the depths of February in the winter, not a lot of sun, freezing cold outside for people in the northern climates, and you find a really good cantaloupe in the store and you bring it home and God, it is just unbelievable. I know I've experienced it so many times in my life, and I gone to the store and I found this beautiful cantaloupe, and it was just gorgeous cantaloupe. And I was like, how is this possible? It's February. How is this even possible? And the cantaloupe is just like no other. And I'm like, that's unbelievable. It really is. And then, what do you know? There's a hijacking going on right now. There's a hijacking going around. Dr. Nesbitt wants to hijack the cantaloupe. I say to Dr. Nesbitt, please leave my cantaloupe alone if that's okay. And Dr. Nesbitt is saying to me, he says that he has not had a good cantaloupe lately, and he has vodka with his cantaloupe smoothie. And I just don't appreciate that though right now. Telling everybody to put vodka in their cantaloupe smoothie is defying the entire everything we're trying to do right here, right now. You have one before surgery. It helps to get the omega-3s right to your brain. Dr. Nesbitt said that omega-3s go directly to his brain, so before surgery, he tends to have the Cantaloupe Smoothie with vodka in it. And what's your brand of vodka? He makes his own vodka. Oh, God. God. He makes his own vodka. What do you got, a distillery or something like that? He says he's got a friend. I don't even know what he's talking about. Oh my God. Dr. Nesbitt, can you please just... Dr. Nesbitt says don't pre-order the book. He says wait for when it comes out on the day it comes out. Why would you tell him that? He just wants to kind of get me back lately. I've been kind of too harsh on his drinking, and he wants me to have a miserable life. So if everybody just orders it on the day it's out, they're not going to be able to get the book because it's going to be out of stock, I'm sure. Dr. Nesbitt, just whatever you do, I need you to go and the board certified psychiatrist, Dr. Nesbitt is asking anybody if they want to partake in his psychiatry classes that he's offering. Are you actually offering those? What are you charging? He's charging just chicken feed. He wants chicken feed for his classes that he's going to be, his psychiatric classes. He just wants chicken feed. Not chicken poop, chicken feed, right? He wants chicken feed. All right, you guys, I gotta read a little bit more. We're still on to something here, Dr. Nesbitt. All right, spiritual lesson. Let's finish the emotional lesson. We're talking about February blues. Just viewing the inside of a cantaloupe after it's been cut open has immense shock value on the emotional centers of the brain. The brilliant orange and the aroma that comes from the inside of the cantaloupe, this combination can bring someone out of a melancholy. Melon, like melon, cantaloupe melons. This is a melon. This can bring you out of melancholy. That's for the people who have that kind of sense of humor. I don't know if it's funny. I think it's funny. I think. Melancholy, sadness, or slump instantaneously without even eating it. Okay, let's talk about the spiritual lesson. Can we do that for a little while as well? Okay. It's almost as if cantaloupe is a permanent fixture. Hotels with a range of ratings, cruise ships, beach resorts, island resorts, and inexpensive lodgings all seem to muster up cantaloupes. That alone, like, okay, all right. I haven't even heard of anything like that. Like, you know how the Medical Medium book series has information about the human body that's just mind-blowing, information to heal. The 369 cleanse alone is unbelievable, right? And what it does for the body, like all this information that Spirit of Compassion has, right? So I'm reading the spiritual part right here to the Cantaloupe and Expanded Edition. I've never even heard of like, that's a thing. Like I haven't even, like what? It's almost as if cantaloupe is a permanent fixture. Hotels with a range of ratings, cruise ships, beach resorts, island resorts, and inexpensive lodgings all seem to muster up cantaloupes. How's it even possible? Like, and it's true. It's really a true fact. It's a true fact then. It's a truth or whatever. It's not talked about out there. Not only anybody's doing a big thing on it, unless they are, and I don't know, but I don't think so. I just know that I've heard, this is where I've heard it here. They're in the grocery stores when there doesn't seem to be another melon available. And that's true too. Like I'm like, I want a canary melon, please. Oh, we don't have canary melons. Can I have a honeydew melon, please? We don't have a honeydew melon. We have some cantaloupes over there in the corner. I'm like, yeah, cool. That's amazing. Yet cantaloupes don't get the respect they deserve. So this is about the cantaloupe doesn't get the respect it deserves. Do you think the cantaloupe gets the respect it deserves? Are you getting the respect you deserve? A scarcity factor tends to get more respect. A scarcity factor tends to get more respect. If it's a rare melon that's only available once a year in a certain part of the world, like in Italy or something, you're in Italy, you're in France, and there's this one melon, you know what I mean, in a little market, like it gets the highest respect on the planet. It just does. It's just like this little melon, these little like home farm, homespun melons in Italy, you know, like in this little basket somewhere. Everybody's like, oh my God, look at this melon. They get the most respect. It will accrue a certain amount of regard versus the cantaloupe, the lowly cantaloupe, that's always available nearly everywhere all the time. This teaches us that reliability can be better than scarcity. Reliability can be better than scarcity. Cantaloupe teaches us that reliability doesn't always come with acclaim and awards. With reliability, there's a bigger picture that's seen from above, even if it's unappreciated by people. Dear God. So good. If you guys came on here, just a little reminder, make sure you pre-order Life Changing Foods, new edition, expanded edition. It is over 600 pages. Your mind will be blown, I promise. Have I let you down with the other medical medium books? And medical medium books heal people around the globe. Another thing too, check out the medical medium newsletter. Going to be sending out more invites on the waiting list, but I have a feeling people aren't checking because I was told that by my team. So they're about to lose their chance. It's like so sad because we're doing a light blast, Cafe of Gratitude. But if you lose your chance, just be there November 6th at Barnes & Noble in Glendale. Be there November 6th at Barnes & Noble, Glendale, for the book signing there at that Barnes & Noble. I'm covering that building with light. Yes, I am. Trisha Marie, good to see you. Always deliver amazing information. I'm honored. Uma, 144. By the way, did you know 2 lives ended at 1 hour and 44 minutes in a row? So I was trying to figure out the odds of that. I was talking to this friend of mine that's like a mathematician, and he can figure out basically anything in any kind of math equation, whatever it is. And being that, you know, I never went to college and don't have a college degree and all that, right? So let's see. I want to read a couple of comments. I'm seeing some really good comments. I want to catch them in time. I'm looking. So, it was 1 hour and 44 minutes in New York when you said it. So I just want to say this, it's interesting. I was talking to a mathematician friend, right? Are you guys okay with the round table right now? Hanging around the round table in my kitchen. Are you guys okay with that? So So I said, how's it possible? How can I do a live and it end on 1 hour and 44 minutes twice, 2 days in a row? Like, and just naturally land on that. Like, how's that even possible? And then he was doing the whole thing with seconds, and he was doing the whole thing with minutes, and he was the whole thing with days, and he was doing the whole thing like when you usually start your lives, and there's like the whole thing, right? And he came to the conclusion it's something like insane, like it's in the trillion. It's like 1,400,000,000,000, blah, blah, he's got like 900 million. And I'm like, all right. Back to this a little bit. So make sure you look out on the newsletter and get on there for the Barnes & Noble's registration on that, okay? Because you should be able to get into that. So just, if you can't get into the dinner, the Light Blast dinner, book signing parties at Cafe Gratitude on the 4th and the 5th, on the 6th, Barnes & Noble, be there, okay? I'm going to be there. I mean, don't you want to meet me? I want to meet you. It would be so awesome, but I'm covering the building with light. Well, Spirit of Compassion is covering the building with light. I can't take that credit, but it's going to happen. I'm actually excited. And what else? What else to check out? Life on Mars, please. Book of Revelation. Listen to it more than once. Listen to it more than once. Medical Meme Podcast and Spotify. Medical Meme Podcast on Apple and Spotify. That's right. And what else? Check out Angels, Demons, and Spiritual Tools. Make sure you check that out. If you haven't heard that, it's 7.5 hours. That will blow your mind. That will blow your mind. And listen, you guys, can you subscribe to my Telegram? Please, because I do want to start leaving. There's a whole bunch of personalized messages there, meaning like exclusive to Telegram, already there. I talk about Pride and Prejudice. There's so many messages I have there, but I want to do more. And I want to start leaving more messages there and everything. Can you subscribe to my Telegram? That would be awesome. Please tell everybody to subscribe to my Telegram if you can. And subscribe to my YouTube. Please know that YouTube doesn't send notifications out. It's like only a handful of people. Keep that in mind. So always check the YouTube channel, because I was censored on YouTube in 2019. So anyway, I used to get 500,000 per video, 300,000 putting out a video, and then they censored me, and so no one gets a notification, because that's how it works. If you subscribe to YouTube, the notification alerts you, and then you know. But if no one gets a notification, then they just think I just dropped the channel. Anyway, so subscribe to YouTube, and let's look out for the YouTube lives like we're on now. We're live right now. So let's go into some tips. Is this the live that never ends? When you purchase a cantaloupe and bring it home, depending on what it was grown and how it was stored, it may not age well. That happens with cantaloupes. Cantaloupes are known to rot before they're ripe. I showed you that. Keep a good eye on your cantaloupe when it's sitting on your table or countertop. Ripening. Don't let your cantaloupe get too spongy or soft. It might get bad before you get to enjoy it. Make sure your cantaloupe has a good wash. We covered that. And recipe notes. Look for cantaloupe type melons that have a sweet or floral aroma emitting from them. They are more likely to be sweet. Also look for skin that is turned from green to orangish beneath the textured netting. And that's interesting too, the textured netting that's on the cantaloupe. That's a really good one right there. These melons are usually ripe when they have a little give when you press on the bottom and opposite end of where the stem was cut, not when the melons are rock hard. This is a reference guide right here. Close the book up here. It's a reference guide. This is something you will never see in books anymore. This will not exist. Let me show you this. And you will definitely like this. Are you okay with hanging out with me right now, you guys? And this is a live that just keeps on going. All right. Okay. Be helpful if I could find it. It's my manuscript. You guys read that? Can't read that? The Medical Medium book series is not NOT, not written using artificial intelligence, AI. And every book will be written in the health movement with AI if it already isn't now or hasn't. Very interesting. Book is a reference guide. Every time you open it, you can look for what symptom you're experiencing in that moment, in that day or condition, and you can get to it, or an emotional experience, emotional feeling, or any kind of physical need. Just open the book up to where it needs to go. And I got to grapefruits. That means I'm gonna need a grapefruit. You know, last time I did that, it was lemon balm, and I was drinking the lemon balm tea. But grapefruit season's coming on. And I'm going to be eating grapefruits. So there's a whole section on grapefruit: emotional support, spiritual lessons, symptoms, conditions, then the power of grapefruit, tips with the grapefruit, and an amazing, delicious recipe with grapefruit. You guys, get the book in your hands. You won't be disappointed. All right. I think this is it. I'm going to finish my cantaloupe. So let me read a comment here. Lightworkers Healing on Facebook. My wife and I have been doing your morning protocol for 7 years. God bless you. God bless you both. We have both healed many symptoms, including arthritis, so severe my wife couldn't get out of bed without help. I'm just proud of you guys, Lightworkers Healing. And thank you for doing the medical medium for 7 years, because that is why I'm here. That is why I'm here. If you weren't doing it, what would be the point? It's why I'm here. And thank you for doing it, truly, okay? Any more comments? Besides a bunch of them, a lot of them. A life with MM, good handle. Will you talk more about pet health and how much pets do for us? I certainly am. I'm going to be talking a lot about pet health coming up. Sunred Paulson says, have to let you know my mom lost her husband some weeks before the last light blast. I feel so bad for her. Her psoriasis was so bad, I woke her up to the light blast. And day after, it was almost gone. Thank you. Thank you. Praying hands. God bless you. Send my love, please. You guys, I can't thank you enough for all your just hard work you put into all the things you do with the medical medium tools and all the support. If you like the video, click it, like it, thumbs up it. If you can. If it's too much, don't worry. But if you can, and so I'm proud of everybody, truly. You guys on Instagram, guys are amazing. Thank you for sharing those ripening tips. You're welcome. We're going to be doing a lot of that. The Medical Medium Cooking Show is back on, and we're going to do a lot of that. Ingrid says, looking forward to this book and more podcasts. AI has no soul. I stay far away. I saw that. AI has no soul. Will it get a soul? That's the question. And will it be the most evilest soul to ever be on the planet? That's the next question. Amazing, you guys. Love you.
At one point in time, Mars was a thriving planet. But just like on planet Earth, greed for land and resources always dominate. We've had wars on planet Earth for centuries. Spiritual wars over religion. Wars because of land grabs. Wars because of ego. And the fight for power has always existed for centuries. And history keeps on repeating itself. And the battle between the light and the darkness continues. Is it possible that on planet Mars, they had their own book of Revelation? There was life there, there were civilizations. There was good, and no doubt there was evil. In the King James Version, there are connections to the red planet Mars. If your eyes are open, you'll see them. Now, Mars once had different creatures that are similar to the creatures we have here. One common sighting is a hairy beast, stands on 2 feet, and has the face of a human. In the book of Revelation 4, verse 7, and the first beast was like a lion, and the second beast like a calf, and the third beast had a face as a man. Now, all of these creatures have been seen here on Earth within the last few hundred years. And now with technology and everybody having a camera, we're seeing more and more sightings of these creatures. And these creatures could be some of the last creatures standing during ending times. And this prophecy could be a lot older than just here on Earth.